room are going to hear us. So I'm going to ask that before we start, we then do a quick sound check. People in the virtual room, may you please just by an indication of a thumbs up or even a message in the text indicate whether you can hear us. I see many thumbs up. Thank you so much. We are also acknowledging that the visual is not great for yourselves, so we are quickly fixing that. The technical team are fixing that, but also as long as the sound, at least for now, is good, I guess we can make do. All right. So thank you so much once again for coming on day 2 of the social media summit at this particular time, and it is wonderful that the faces that we saw yesterday are back here. But I guess like yesterday, the room is half full when we're beginning. You saw yesterday numbers picked up towards later, and I had a chat with Rams, who's the executive chairman at Decode, and Prof. Mandla Khadebe, who's the executive director at the Center for Data and Digital Comms, who's our partner on this program, that maybe when people pay, they value coming to events, right? So we've had a number of people who are SVP'd, who confirmed even the day before that, yes, no, we are coming. And yesterday we had a few people who were absent. So thank you for those that did not come, for confirming that we must charge you. So next year, when we're coming back, it will not be free. For the first 2 years, we did it for free because we thought that, no, listen, the inflation is high, but clearly the people can afford this thing. So we'll start on that note, and next year there will be a fee. So today's program, there's only one small amendment to it. In fact, two. So if you go onto the website, you'll see that Dr. Karabo Sito Kaunda was meant to present yesterday on the perils and benefits of AI. She will be presenting today, and the Group CEO of the SABC will not be speaking to us today. So those are the only two small changes, but otherwise the program is as it is, and we're hoping that it will continue to be as highly call it rich as yesterday's program is. Small recap from yesterday. There were a few takeaways that we had, and the one was the breakaway sessions seem to have been a hit, which we didn't have last year, right? And the feedback that we got, and askies to the people that are joining us online, we got this feedback during the networking session, the cocktail, where we had some, nice water. And the feedback really was that not everyone is comfortable speaking in a big room, right? But people want to give input. So when you create breakaways, people feel that they are part of the engagement, right? So that for us is a huge and significant takeaway, right? But secondly, and most importantly, there seemingly was value in all the breakaway sessions. So we had TK Tumelo Komape from the city of Johannesburg taking us through a number of digital, particularly around digital transformation, right? And the feedback had been that, we actually did not know that there are so many accessible free tools that we can use as government communicators. And I guess instead of making it a shorter session, we need to look at a longer workshop on something like that. Because if it is valuable, where people are going to see that generally government communicators are asked to do more with less. I know that all of us, right, even in the private sector, but I imagine with government communicators, it is even worse, right? So I guess some of those sessions, we need to look at how do we make them a lot more interactive, a little bit longer, but of course, share even, some of those, call it links and all of that. So what we are going to do is that post the summit, there'll be a communique that goes out with all the links of what Tumelo was sharing, because he was not really making a presentation. He was just going through a number of products that they use at the city of Johannesburg in terms of sharing with with communicators. The second takeaway, particularly around from the breakaway sessions, was that the engagement at the civic education or civic engagement session by Future Elect was rich, right? And I guess it was rich because we're not talking things communication, but they were focusing on, how do we see governance? And then how do we overlay comms, right? And I guess that's our everyday thing. If you're working at the Department of Public Enterprises, right, or you're working at Minerals, Resources, and Energy, people are talking about things, petroleum, everything else that is beneath our ground, and you then have to think about how do we then overlay communications, but make sure that it's not only strategic, the messaging people can get. So I guess the feedback goes back to us as the organizers to be thinking about how do we ensure that this is not just about all things communication, but things that are about governance, things that, as government communicators, think about, answering some of these questions. What else do we add onto the program as we reimagining, the future of citizen engagement? The other feedback was around, and I guess it was the conversation that was had when Rams Mabote had taken, was talking around sharing on crisis, right? Crisis seemed to be one of those, and I guess we've seen a lot on social media that something breaks, either a Sunday paper puts up, a story, and then it trends through screenshots in WhatsApp groups and the likes. And that was the one omission in our program where we didn't have a topic around crisis communications, and whether it's on itself, as a discipline, or how do you manage a crisis on social media, right? Of course, there are many decisions that are being made strategically by the managers, by relevant fora. However, the important thing is, as it spills out on social media, and the example with Bonang and Minister Mteto, right, where you have somebody who has more than 1 million followers, who's then creating a lot of nonsense for you. How do you deal with that, right? The other part of the feedback, or at least from the panel discussion in particular that we had with Onke Dumeko from National Film and Video Foundation, Happy Ngidi from the Proudly South African, and Senzeni Ngubane from GCIS. The feedback really was that seemingly there are many case studies of good work that is done by government. And we all know that in the room, right? However, the question is, how do I know about some of these? And one of the things that Prof. Mandla and ourselves, we've been trying to imagine is that, imagine if there was a portal, and it does not have to be done by, us. It can be a co-created platform. Imagine a portal where there are best practices and case studies of how other people are doing digital communications better. So if I am a new communicator at Greater Town Local Municipality, and I want to know how do other like municipalities that are very rural, where I know that access to digital and particularly that they have issues of whether it's slow bandwidth, or generally people are they're unemployed, right? So they always have to be thinking about how they use their data, right? So I'm able to get into this resource or this portal. I find them as a relevant resource. I'm then able to say, here are lessons that somebody has documented, shared with us in terms of how well they have done it. And it is possible that all of these case studies are there. What we now need to do is package them, put them in a repository, make them accessible to communicators. I think that deserves a round of applause, although it's just an idea. Right? So Prof, we have homework. It means that we will have to really think about, and I'm putting the challenge as well to the National School of Government. I'm taking an opportunity because Dr. Lagela Kaunda is here, put her on the spot to say, I think there's an opportunity for co-creation on this portal, right? And somebody like TK Komabe is going to help us. But anyway, I'm like I said, I'm expecting that we are going to have, you know, a wonderful day again. But before we start today, and I know that I had said that we are going to start with you. So, yes, please move. So, you all know that we have, you know, we have wonderful partners and supporters. We have the Gauteng Tourism Authority. We have GCIS. We have the National Film and Video Foundation. We have Meltwater. We have SABC. We have Good Governance Africa, DKMS Africa, as well as our partners. I may have omitted to mention that the University of Johannesburg is not just a venue. They are actually our partner. Yes. They are foundational partner, right? And they deserve a round of applause. But and to acknowledge that, we then have the head of communication school at the head of communication, the head of School of Communication, Dr. Sfiso, who's going to share a few. And again, you see, you must pay the bills, right? So Dr. Sfiso, please come up and we give him a round of applause.
I see Lorato not only forgets that we are partners, but forgets our name also. But nonetheless, a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, and my colleagues. It's a wonderful day. It's a great opportunity for us to find ourselves, you know, partnering with Decode on such an important event, which is the summit, focusing on government communication as well as social media. So I've been tasked, of course, with offering some perspectives, or I suppose some of my thoughts around the role of the public sector communication. Then I thought to myself, perhaps it might be worthwhile to situate that conversation within the context of social media, and therefore I'm very, very delighted that I am, you know, within the presence of such exceptional minds to also contribute as we continue to engage on this important topic that focuses on the importance of the public sector communication within the context of social media. So thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited about that. And I mean, I suppose in thinking about our current technological epoch, I cannot help but reminisce about the times of old, before the age of social media. And immediately, a song by one of the most phenomenal Maskandi artists that we've ever heard in our country comes to mind. And this is Ophuze Khemisi, who released a very popular song. I think it was in 1992. The song is titled Imbizo. So that song comes to my mind. And as the lyrics go, it says, "Awunjalo nje ikhona imbizo. Njalo nje ikhona imbizo. Sihlale sibizwe emakhosini. Sihlale sibizwa phezulu. Sihlale sifunwa esikoleni." Which means all the time there are these gatherings that are organized. The powers that be call on us to gather. Right? The song became very, very popular. But for me, if anything, this song spoke to the creation of an engaged citizenry by the leaders of the government of the day, if you will. And I want to thrust the same logic and approach to the digitized and network world with the advent of social media. In our rapidly evolving world, these tools have become indispensable in shaping governance, fostering public engagement, and ensuring transparency, as well as improving service delivery. Now, allow me to take you on a journey through the multifaceted roles and impacts of public sector communication and social media in our beloved country. First and foremost, public sector communication is the cornerstone for promoting transparency and accountability within government operations. Transparency is the backbone upon which trust between the government and citizens is built. By regularly updating the public through press releases, public announcements, and various media outlets, our government ensures that citizens are well informed about policies, decisions, and public spending. This openness not only builds trust, but also holds public officials accountable for their actions, reducing the risk of corruption and fostering a culture of accountability. Effective communication is essential for disseminating crucial information to the public. This includes updates on essential services, public health advisories, and emergency notifications. For instance, during public health campaigns addressing issues such as HIV and AIDS, tuberculosis, or even more recently, the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, clear and timely communication becomes all the more vital. Through various channels, including traditional media and digital platforms, the government can reach a wide audience and ensuring that citizens are well informed and can make informed decisions about their health and well-being. Another cornerstone of a vibrant democratic government is an engaged citizen. Public sector communication facilitates this engagement by providing platforms for feedback, suggestions, and participation in democratic processes. Mechanisms such as public consultations, town hall meetings, or Imbizo, and online platforms enable citizens to voice their opinions and contribute to policy making. This participatory approach ensures that government policies and programs reflect the needs and aspirations of the populace, enhancing their legitimacy and effectiveness. Clear and consistent communication is crucial for the successful implementation of policies. By effectively communicating new laws, regulations, and public programs, the government ensures that citizens understand and comply with these initiatives. Public awareness campaigns, informational brochures, and digital content help explain the purpose and benefits of policies, fostering public support and compliance. Effective communication minimizes misunderstandings and resistance, facilitating smoother policy implementation. Social media platforms have revolutionized the way governments interact with citizens. Platforms like Twitter, or now known as X, Facebook, or even Instagram, enable real-time communication, allowing government officials to address queries, provide updates, and share news directly with the public. This direct interaction enhances transparency and accountability, as citizens can hold officials accountable for their statements and actions. Social media also allows for more personalized and immediate responses to public concerns, improving the overall efficiency of public sector communication. In times of crisis, such as natural disasters or public health emergencies, social media becomes an essential tool for crisis communication. If you think back during the time of the COVID-19 pandemic, social media was crucial for disseminating information on lockdown measures, vaccination campaigns, and safety protocols. The immediacy and wide reach of social media platforms ensure that critical information can be shared quickly and widely, helping to manage responses and mitigate the impact of crisis. Social media encourages public participation in governance by providing platforms for citizens to voice their opinions, concerns, and suggestions. Hashtags, online polls, and discussion threads engage the public on various issues from social justice movements to local community concerns. So if you think back to campaigns such as Fees Must Fall and Black Lives Matter, these demonstrate the power of social media in mobilizing public opinion and action. By facilitating public participation, social media strengthens democratic processes and ensures that government actions align with the will of the people. While social media is a powerful tool for communication, it can, unfortunately, also be a breeding ground for misinformation. Public sector bodies must actively monitor and correct misinformation to ensure that the public receives accurate and reliable information. This involves promptly addressing false information, providing fact-checked updates, and collaborating with media organizations to maintain the integrity of the information that is shared. Combating misinformation is crucial for maintaining public trust and ensuring that citizens make decisions based on accurate information. Despite the numerous benefits presented to us by social media, there are significant challenges associated with public sector communication and, of course, these platforms within the context of South Africa. One major challenge is the digital divide, which refers to the unequal access to the internet and digital technologies. As we all know that not all citizens have access to these platforms, leading to a communication gap. And therefore, efforts are needed to bridge this divide and ensure inclusive communication. Further, data privacy is another critical concern. So handling data privacy and ensuring the protection of citizens' information is paramount. Public sector entities must adhere to regulations like the POPIA Act to safeguard personal data and maintain public trust. Resource allocation is also essential for effective communication. Adequate resources, training, and infrastructure are necessary to manage public sector communication in social media effectively. Continuous investment in these areas is crucial for maintaining and improving communication standards. As I move to close, I want to reflect on the power of social media to communicate, to indicate the social climate within our country, the political climate to be exact. We are able to see this in the space or in terms of how people feel if we track trends and patterns of social media. We are able to get an indication of the climate or the social climate within the country, the political climate is specific. And therefore, I want to pose the challenge to government communicators to say, as we move into the 7th administration under the proposed government of national unity, there will be nothing worse than a GNU that presides over a divided constituency. And therefore, there is an opportunity to ensure social cohesion through social media by all government communicators. So public sector communication and social media in South Africa play a vital role in fostering an informed, engaged, and responsive society. They enhance transparency, facilitate public participation, and ensure effective service delivery. By addressing challenges such as the digital divide, data privacy, and resource allocation, South Africa can further strengthen its public sector communication and leverage social media to build a more inclusive, democratic society. So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, as we move forward, let us embrace the power of communication and social media to bridge gaps, foster understanding, and build a nation where every voice is heard and every citizen is informed and engaged. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sifiso, for provoking the room. And I guess one of the things, or at least as far as his presentation is concerned, is really around, and again, to yesterday's feedback, right? So as we think about the work that we do, data privacy is a big thing, right? And we all know that they say that if it is free, you must know that you are the product, right? So the platform providers are not the product, because we give them our data, whether it's, where we eat, our sleeping habits, how we self-medicate when we have, we're dealing with this violent flu and the likes. So thank you so much, Dr. Sifiso. I thought that I should again just remind us what, the 3 questions that we had, at least under this theme, this year's theme around deepening democracy and citizen engagement in the digital age, right? We had thought about a few questions, right, which were really around, or at least that we thought that we should be answering as communicators. Where are my questions? Does the first one, right? Does the current status of how government and the public sector utilize digital communications showcase their application of social media as a strategic communication method and hyper-targeting utility and cost-saving benefits, right? And I guess, and this segues into the next into the next session, which REMS is going to be dealing with around digital skills. Sometimes it is about knowing and understanding, because knowing is not equal to understanding, right? You can know what exists, but you may not understand how to utilize the platform to ensure that you are then able to do more with less. You know, some of leveraging the cost-saving benefits of some of these platforms. And I'm hoping that as you know, you will REMS with your panel, you'll then be able to get the room to that portion at least. The last other thing that I then wanted to raise before REMS come up is an important reminder that we've been speaking about, right? All of us in the room who are government communicators, or even who are communicators, we know of the Edelman Trust Barometer, which comes out every year at the beginning of the year. It's a very important tool that we often use, where they survey 28 markets across the continent. South Africa is one of the 28, and they look at 4 areas: the media, government, civil society, and business, zoning into trust, right? This slide is absolutely important for us as government communicators, because if you look at this study, over time, government was the least trusted of the 4, right? Come COVID-19, in January in 2020, we were still at an all-time low, as we always are, right? But something shifts when they decide to redo the study in May. Remember, in May, we were right in the middle of the hard lockdown. Movement restricted, soldiers were out in the streets, people were complaining about the rotisserie chicken there by Woolies. Some, were not getting the Zol. There were many things that were happening and not happening in our country, right? But for a good reason, trust had a double-digit increase in government, right? And I'm assuming that we all know why. Some of those contributing factors was that, one, there was all of a sudden consistent communication with citizens and engagement with citizens. But also, you, as government communicators, your platforms were always seen as credible. You'd remember when, somebody would put up a fake post to say that there's a family meeting. A lot of people would quickly jump to Artigalab and say, is it true that the family meeting is happening? Because we didn't see the presidency handle communicating. And you see how this kind of shift happens, right? Where, one, social media is instant, but also government personalities and government accounts were becoming the most trusted sources of information, right? Then we got to the point where we're doing vaccine drives. Again, right? We're using experts in the respective departments to communicate and connect with citizens, making sure that they understand the moment that we are in. Even now, with the government of national unity, that is exactly what we need. We have a lot of experts who are either in the academia. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We have a lot of political scientists, right? But as bureaucrats, people are talking about now, we need to be reviewing DG's contracts and all of that. Where is the voice of the bureaucrats to say, as the experts, let us tell you how this bureaucracy runs. In fact, let us tell you how we are still standing even after the most interesting election ever in our country, right? So the call to yourselves is that as we're having these conversations, let us remember that a picture was different at some point, and it was not magic. All that we did was that we raised the standard. So what we need to do, we need to go back there. We are armed with digital tools. Special investigating unit are showing us the way. They are leading in, one, doing the work. And by the way, when we know this has effect because Brakeza Kganyago was here last year, right? He did indicate that when he got there, he never had to ask all those forensic specialists to do their work. He just said, what are you guys busy with? give us what we are busy with, we will tell the public what we are busy with. That was where the shift happened, right? So we have an absolutely significant role. But importantly, when we now know that Facebook, is the second most largest social media platform, but when you look at the Facebook accounts of many government departments, you look at Twitter, they update regularly. But when you go to Facebook, chalk and cheese, right? But also those who are doing it, you can see that they've taken the copy that was meant for Twitter or X to be there on Facebook, right? You literally have a space for about 4,000 characters. We've had, and by the way, one of the things that we do as at Decode is we run social media training, right? And we've had a chat with, for instance, we were in the room with health communicators in Gauteng. Before we spoke to them, we had done a dipstick, and we're saying, so Ga-Rankuwa, Dr. George Mukhari Hospital is in Ga-Rankuwa, where majority of the people, if you just go on Google, majority of the people that live in that locale speak Setswana, right? People ask questions in Setswana on their Facebook platform, but they always respond in English, right? And I guess it's there again. Somebody in fact raised the issue around translations yesterday, right? The issue around how do we think about communications in such a way that it lands, because the platforms are there, but their utility is what is going to flip. Rams Mabote, the executive director at Decode Communications, is coming up with the next panel, and we are talking digital. We're reflecting on digital skills, and on the panel is Dr. Lakela Kaunda, who is at the National School of Government, and we also have Mavimbela, who is at the GCIS, and Puti Mothapo, who's the president of the Professional Public Relations Institute of Southern Africa, and Mark Southern, not South, right? We thought that it was important for her to be here because as a PR is self-regulated in South Africa. But we had the Bell Pottinger moment, which was a digital media problem, an issue, right? And as a regulator, they will share a few insights. Mkhonne, take it away.
Very good morning to everyone in the room, and a special good morning to the panelists. It's quite an honor to be speaking to the three of you, not only because you are experts